What is happening? AJ Gamer Dude here, and I'm going to be talking about DuelMasters. So this is actually a card game that was introduced by created by Wizards of the Coast, and was, I think, started around 2004, 2005 to directly compete with Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Was definitely booming in popularity, and so this was created around that time. Unfortunately, was discontinued in 2011 because Yu-Gi-Oh! Was just way too damn popular. So, sort of just for, because I've spoken about Yu-Gi-Oh! Before and Cardfight Vanguard, which are, card games that are still going on to this day, I figured, you know what, let's talk about a card game that was actually discontinued and will never have a new card being added to it by buying some new packs. So what we have here is this pile right here is actually my collection of cards that I've had since the game originally came out. This is a stack of extra cards that I bought from eBay that supposedly have a bunch of promo cards and cards between DMO1, which is the original booster set, up to DMO5, I want to say. Yeah, which is the 5th booster set. So between 2 years worth of DuelMasters in this one pile. I haven't actually had a look at the cards because I've been saving it up for this video. But in addition to that, I also happened to find the original DuelMasters starter pack right here. The original DuelMasters starter pack, which has two 20 card decks in here, which you can combine to make a 40 card deck. But in addition to that, it's got a bunch of other neat things like, it says back here, so two 20 card training decks, a mini comic, an exclusive premium card being Rothus the Traveler, which you can actually see sort of in the front over here, nice and shiny, as well as a quick start guide, a rule book, 2 playmats, membership for DMAX, which was I don't think that exists anymore. But also, one of the most important things here is a bonus pack of booster cards. So I've got this for the original DMO1 set, and I've got one for DMO6 as well. Right, check that out. God damn. I've got a Pyrofighter Magnus as well in the middle over there. But also, this one also has a booster pack in it as well. I don't know if you can read that, but yeah. So I'm actually going to be opening booster packs from a discontinued card game for, cards that released A in the original booster pack and B in the 6th booster pack that existed. So 2 different years, 2 years apart from each other. And keeping in mind that this game came out in 2004. This came out 2006. This came out. We're in 2023. Just imagine that for a moment. So what I'm going to do is show off my collection of cards to start off with. Then I'll show this pile here that I've got, and then finally we'll open up the 2 starter deck packs that we have. So let's just kind of start from the top. So DuelMasters, fairly simple game compared to say Yu-Gi-Oh! There are phases where you kind of need to go through them. So first and foremost, you've got the draw phase, where you draw a card from your hand to your deck. From your deck to your hand. Very important. So you draw the card from the top of your deck. And both players start off with 5 cards and 5 shields. Pretty much, you need to destroy your opponent's shields and then attack your opponent directly for game. And that's usually how it works. So there's only 2 types of cards in the game. We have creatures and we have spells. Spells can contain something called shield triggers, which can be played if that card is one of your shields and it gets destroyed. It can be activated without having to pay any cost for it. So just thought I would mention that. But yeah, you've got your draw phase to start off with. Then you've got the mana phase, where you put 1 card from your hand into the mana zone. Then you have the 3rd phase, which is where you summon monsters and cast spells, and you're only limited to however much mana you have for being able to. So you can summon as many monsters as you want, as long as you have the mana for it. Then the 4th phase is battle, and then of course after that you end your turn. So here we have Crystal Lancer, which was from DMO2 if I remember right. This card is an evolution creature, blue, and requires 6 mana. So you need at least 6 cards in your mana zone, one of which has to be blue in order for you to be able to play this card. And it's an evolution, which means you need to have, so it says here Crystal People, that is the race that Crystal Lancer belongs to, which means you need to have 1 liquid people in your field to pretty much stack this on top of. 6 mana, 8,000 power, has a couple of effects like evolution, that this creature can't be blocked, so it is an unblockable, so I'll explain blockers shortly. And it is a double breaker, which means it can break 2 of your opponent's shields when it attacks. Okay, here we have a spell called Teleportation, which is you can choose up to 2 creatures in the battle zone and return them to their owner's hand. So you can choose from both your side and your opponent's side. 5 mana, of course, so that's a pretty high cost. Aqua Soldier, which is liquid people, 3 mana, 1,000 power. When this creature is going to be destroyed, return it to your hand instead, so it's a resource, sort of like a reoccurring resource. So it doesn't get sent to the graveyard, it just goes straight back to your hand and keeps bouncing that way. Saucerhead Shark, 5 mana, 3,000 power. When this creature is put into the battle zone, return each creature in the battle zone that has 2,000 or less power to their owner's hand. So 2,000 or less power all get returned to the owner's hand. So that includes not just your opponent, but yourself as well. Here we have a Spiral Gate. It is a shield trigger, so that means if this card was one of my shields and you destroyed it, I could activate it without paying the 2 mana cost. Choose 1 creature in the battle zone and return it to its owner's hand. So this could be anyone, you know, your opponent's side or your own side. Phantom Fish, 3 mana, 4,000 power, and it is a blocker. So a blocker is the only way to stop your opponent from attacking. So no matter how many creatures you have on your side of the field, your opponent can attack your shields right away, unless you have a blocker. Now, normally, each monster's power should be equivalent to however much mana is the cost. So if a monster had no effect, was just a vanilla monster, 3 mana would be like 3,000 power on average. That would be the general estimate. So for each mana, it would only be 1,000 power per mana cost. So of course, because Phantom Fish costs less mana and has 3 mana and 4,000 power, because his power is higher, he must have some sort of downside. In this case, this creature cannot attack. It can't attack your opponent's monsters, and it can't attack the players. It can't attack shields. It's purely a defensive card. Hunterfish, same thing. 2 mana, 3,000 power, so there must be a downside, which is that it cannot attack, but it can block. So blues do have a decent amount of blockers as well. But we're going to go to green, which is nature cards, and I don't believe nature has any blockers actually. They're more about putting more cards in your mana zone outside of your mana phase. So we have Poisonous Mushroom. When this creature hits the battle zone, you can put 1 card from your hand into the mana zone. So this is an optional effect of you can do it, you don't have to. Fearfang. So now this is a proof of a very sort of average card. I don't know what the competitive state of DuelMasters is right now, but this to me is what I would call an average card. 3 mana, 3,000 power, no effect, just pure vanilla, Beast Folk. Tower Shell, 6 costs 5,000 mana, and it cannot be, so it must have a positive effect, which is that it cannot be blocked by creatures that have 4,000 or less power. So it is an unblockable, given that the monster that's blocking doesn't have 4,000 or less, so it needs to be blocked by a 5,000 or higher. Ultimate Force, 5 mana, nature card. Put the top 2 cards of your deck into your mana zone. Dimension Gate, so it's a shield trigger. Search your deck, you may take a creature from your deck, show that creature to your opponent, and then put it in your hand. So it's pretty much a searcher. Another Ultimate Force. Natural Snare. This is a shield trigger, 6 mana, nature card. Choose 1 of your opponent's creatures in the battle zone and put it in their mana zone. So this is just, a formal removal against your opponent. Steel Smasher. 2 mana, 3,000 power, must have a negative effect. It cannot attack your opponent. So So when it says it can't attack players, it means it can't destroy shields or attack your opponent, which means it can only attack monsters. Poisonous Dahlia, 4 mana, 5,000 power, can't attack players. Trihorn Shepherd, 5 mana, 5,000 power, vanilla monster, right there. Pangaea Song, 1 mana, put 1 creature from your battle zone into your mana zone. So you pretty much just increase your mana zone by using your own monsters. Poisonous Dahlia again. Rainbow Stone, 4 mana, nature card, search your deck. You may take a card from your deck and put it in your mana zone, then shuffle your deck. So again, all about, putting, cards in your mana zone. And like a Mighty Shouter, when this creature would not be destroyed, you put in your mana zone instead. Bronze Arm Tribe, when you put this creature in the battle zone, put the top card of your deck into your mana zone. Interesting. Storm Shell, 1 mana, 2,000 power, nature card. When you put this creature into the battle zone, your opponent chooses one of his creatures in the battle zone and puts it into his mana zone. Interesting, okay. So here we have Golden Wing Striker, which is a power attacker. What essentially that means is that when this creature attacks, that's when it gains additional power. So it's like at the damage step, it gets power. So damage step for any Yu-Gi-Oh players out there. Burning Mane, 2,000 power, 2 mana, vanilla monster. Trihorn Shepherd again. I should open it like this, I think. Red Eye Scorpion, 5 mana, 4,000 power. When this creature would be destroyed, put in your mana zone instead, so that's a positive effect. Now here we go into sort of, darkness cards. 4 mana, 1,000 power. It is just a blocker, so this is actually just a really bad card, to be completely honest. Being 1,000 power at 4 mana, that is quite the heavy cost. Dark Raven, Shadow of Grief. Oh, actually, we've got 2 different art styles for the same card. Huh. Are they both... Oh, we do have... Okay, and they're also different numbers as well. So down here it's like 59, and this is number 51. Huh. Interesting. I didn't notice that until now. 2 different art styles for the exact same card. Vampire Sylphie. 8 mana, 4,000 power. Every monster that has 3,000 or less power, destroyed. Which is a very high cost. Interesting amount of power, but... Ooh. This is a pretty destructive card, to be completely honest. It's also fairly rare as well. Bone Spider. When this creature destroys your opponent's monster, destroy it. Terror Pit. Shield Trigger. Destroy one of your opponent's monsters. So for 6 mana, you could destroy one of your opponent's monsters. If it's a shield trigger, you can just trigger it. Stinger Worm. 3 mana, 5,000 power. If you put this creature in the battle zone, you have to destroy one of your own monsters. So you need to pretty much, have a sacrificial lamb. 2 mana, 2,000 power. It's a blocker, but it has also a negative effect that it cannot attack your opponent at all. Masked Horror, Shadow of Scorn, 5 mana, 1,000 power. So pretty high cost. What is its effect? When you put this creature in the battle zone, your opponent discards a card at random. So it's a discard, it makes your opponent discard a card. Dark Reversal, Shield Trigger, return a creature from your graveyard to the hand. Okay. Bone Assassin the Ripper, a Living Dead. 4 mana, 2,000 power. It is a Slayer creature. So if this monster dies, it takes whatever kills it with it. Now here we have so this is, I think, the highest rarity card, one of the highest rarity cards in the game. Deathliger, Lion of Chaos. Demon Command is its race, and it has 7 mana, 9,000 power, which is very good. Double Breaker, which means it can destroy 2 shields if it attacks your opponent for their shields. Gigastan, which is a Chimera. 4 mana, 3,000 power. When this creature would be put in your graveyard, put it in the When this creature would be in your graveyard from the battle zone, you may return it to your hand instead. If you do, discard a card from your hand. Ghost Touch, 2 mana, shield trigger, your opponent discards a card at random. Now, Bloody Skeeto, I'm pretty sure this may have been a competitively viable card. 2 mana, 4,000 power. Blocker. So as it's the blocker, which is a positive effect, so it's got to have some negatives. It cannot attack at all, and if Bloody Skeeter destroys one of your opponent's monsters, it gets destroyed as well. Skeleton Soldier the Defiled, 4th mana, 3000 power, vanilla monster. It has no effect. Also, some of these cards do have flavor text at the bottom as well. So Creeping Plague, 1 mana. Whenever this card, whenever any of your creatures become blocked this turn, it gets Slayer until the end of the turn. So Slayer means if any monster destroys your monster, it gets destroyed as well. Swampworm, 7 mana, 2000 power. When this creature gets put into the battle zone, your opponent destroys one creature on their side of the field and destroys it. Critical Blade, shield trigger, destroy one of your opponent's creatures that are blockers. So that's good counterplay for blockers right there with Critical Blade. Now we have light cards, which are all about having decent amount of blockers on the field, because they have a lot of like blockers sort of within the light domain, and a lot of evolutions as well, I feel like. So we have a Holy Awe, which is a shield trigger. Tap all creatures in your battle zone. So when you attack your opponent, let's take Swampworm as an example. You've got it in the battle zone, and when you attack your monster, you need to tap it, which means putting it on its side. Which means whenever a monster is tapped, it can be attacked by your opponent, in their following turn, because a creature doesn't get untapped until your next turn begins, rendering your opponent unable to attack with those monsters as well. Because in order to attack, you need to be able to tap your card, and when your monsters are tapped, they are vulnerable to getting attacked by your opponent's monsters, unless you can use blockers to protect your creatures, but that's the thing as well. So tap all of your opponent's creatures, which is an excellent shield trigger. This is definitely, I think, a very much a competitively viable card for sure. Holy Awe is an incredible card, though 6 mana is quite a high cost. We have Chillis the Oracle, Sonic Wing, choose one creature in your battle zone, can't be blocked this turn. Solar Ray, shield trigger, choose one of your opponent's creatures in the battle zone and tap it. Emerald Grass, blocker, can't attack the opponent or the shields. Mael, Visor of Lightning, when you put this creature in the battle zone, you can choose one of your opponent's creatures and tap it. So again, this is also about tapping your opponent so that they can't attack you the following turn. La Ura Giga Sky Guardian, this is one of the first cards you want to start with. 1 mana, 2000 power. It is a blocker that you can bring up pretty much on your first turn. Lock, Visor of Hunting, 4 mana, 4000 power. Vanilla monster. Centine J Tree, Starlight Tree, blocker, 3 mana, 4000 power. Laser Wing, you can tap up to 2 creatures in your in the battle zone and choose 2 creatures in your battle zone, can't be blocked this turn. Frey, Visor of Air, at the end of each of your turns you may untap this creature. Earth Purifying Elemental, Double Breaker, and at the end of each of your turns you may untap this creature. 6 mana, 6000 power. Toel, Visor of Hope, 5 mana, 2000 power. You can untap creatures at the end of your turn. So these few monsters that allow you to untap your cards at the end of the turn means that you're protecting yourself from getting attacked by your opponent's creatures. Lab Purification Enforcer, this is actually a pretty good card. It's a vanilla monster, sure, but 5 mana at 5500 power, which is great. Rizal the Oracle, 2 mana, 2000 power. It's a vanilla monster. Ruby Grass, 3 mana, 3000 power. It's a blocker, but it cannot attack players, and it can be untapped at the end of each turn. So it's got a bit of a balancing act on equal parts negative and positive effects. So Iocant the Oracle, blocker, 2 mana, 2000 power, and it can gain another 2000 power if you have an Angel Command creature. So something like, say, Earth Purifying Elemental as an example here. And it can't attack the player. Subskin Twilight Guardian, 5 mana, 6000 power. It is a blocker and it cannot attack the player, but it can attack your opponent's monsters. So now we have Rothus the Traveler. When you put this creature in the battle zone, destroy one of your opponent's creatures, then choose one of their creatures and destroy it. Fatal Attacker Horvath. When you have at least one Armaloid in your side of the field, this creature can gain another 2,000 power. So it can be potentially a 4,000 power sort of beat stick for only 3 mana, which is pretty good. 7 mana, 7,000 power. It can attack untapped creatures, which is an effect we haven't seen so far. So like how I said, your monsters need to be tapped in order to be able to be attacked. Well, this creature can attack untapped creatures, and if it attacks for, shields, it's a double breaker. We have Scarlet Skytear, which is another incredibly rare card, which allows you to pretty much destroy all blockers on the field when this card hits the battle zone. But unfortunately, it costs 8 mana, which is very high. Just like green cards, red or fire cards don't actually have any blockers from what I'm aware. We have Bolzar Dragon, which is an armor dragon. Whenever this creature attacks, choose a card in your opponent's mana zone, put it into their graveyard. So that's definitely an interesting card right there. Making your opponent lose potential resources. Metalwing Skytear. Whenever this card attacks, destroy one of your opponents that has a blocker, and you can destroy it before your opponent can block with it. So that's an interesting thing to point out. Double breaker. 7 mana, 6,000 power. Cavalry General Kuratops, 3 mana, 2,000 power, can attack untapped creatures. Rumblegate, 4 mana. Each of your creatures in the battle zone gets 1,000 power until the end of the turn. Each of your creatures in the battle zone that can attack creatures can attack untapped creatures as well. So this is when you're going all out with a large number of monsters. Nomad Hero Gigio, Machine Eater, can attack untapped creatures, 5 mana, 3,000 power, another Scarlet Skytear. Onslaughter Triceps. Now this is an example of how Fire is able to get a lot of strong creatures out with low mana cost. 5,000 power at 3 mana. Unfortunately, you do have to send 1 card from your mana zone into your graveyard. Tornado Flame, Shield Trigger, 5 mana, it's a fire card. Destroy one of your opponent's creatures that has 4,000 or less power. Galasaur, when you have no other creatures in the battle zone, this card gains 4,000 power. It is a 5 mana monster at 4,000 to start off with, so it could be an 8,000 with a double attacking ability. Deadly Fighter Braidclaw, 1 mana, 1,000 power. This creature has to attack every turn. 7 mana, 6,000 power. Of course, the Metalwing Skytear, we've already seen that. Stone Saw, 4,000 power at 5 mana and can gain 2,000 power when it attacks. So at the damage dip. Now, Explosive Fighter Yukon is a solid example of, again, exactly what I was saying about how fire is an attribute that allows you to burn through your mana to get strong cards out. Which is, when this card goes into the battle zone, you send 2 cards from your mana zone to the graveyard, and it's also a double breaker, but it also has 9,000 power, which is actually quite high for a 5 mana creature, and we have burning power. So it took a while to get through like what my actual cards were, so let's actually jump into, just move that out of the way, water cards as well. To the new cards that I got. So the whole thing is apparently split in half somewhere. Let's have a look, see. Okay. Okay, looks like we've got promo cards here, so let's go through those ones first. How many of them are actually promo? Okay. So, a few in here. A decent amount of promo cards, Jesus. 2004, yeah, that sounds about right. Cool. Right, so what we'll do is we'll go through the promo cards first. So all you have here is... So the thing about promo cards is that they have creatures that are different colors. And also they have this sort of like weird symbol down here on the right hand side. So here we have Mighty Shouter, which we've seen before. If this creature were to be destroyed, you'd put it in your mana zone instead. Super Explosive Volcanodon, 4 mana. It's a 2,000 power creature. It gains 4,000 power for when it attacks. Another super explosive Volcanodon. Dark Raven Shadow of Grief, so we definitely saw one of those earlier on that I had 2 different artworks for some reason. Gigastand, we also saw that among my cards previously. 4 mana, 3000 power. Aqua Hercules, 3 mana, 2000 power. When you put this creature into the battle zone, you can draw a card, which is pretty interesting. Aqua Jolter, so this creature is actually one example of a shield trigger, where you actually can summon this monster if it was in your shield if it gets destroyed without paying the 3 mana cost. Toel Visor of Hope, again, looks a hell of a lot cleaner than my copy, but again, different color and different colors all around. And then Pale Seeker of Sunlight, 2500 power, 4 mana, gains 2000 power when all cards in your mana zone are light, which is actually quite interesting. I haven't quite seen that effect yet. That was a fairly unique effect. Alright, now let's go through these cards that we have here. So, we're going to start off with, here we go, Sword Butterfly. 3 mana, 2000 power, gains 3000 power when attacking. Another Sword Butterfly. Sniper Mosquito. 1 mana, 2000 power. Whenever this creature attacks, return a card from your mana zone to the hand. Roar of the Earth, shield trigger. 2 mana. Return a creature that costs 6 or more from your mana zone to your hand. Oh, interesting. Okay. Another Roar of the Earth. Raging Dashhorn. 5 mana, 4000 power. It gains 3000 during attacking and becomes a double breaker. Another Raging Dashhorn. Volcanic Arrows, shield trigger. 2 mana. Destroy a creature that has 6000 or less power and choose to choose one of your shields and put it in your graveyard. Sniper Striker Bullraiser, 2 mana, 3000 power. This creature can't attack while your opponent has more creatures in the battle zone than you do. Interesting, okay. Explosive Dude Joe, 3 mana, 3000 power. It is a vanilla monster. Got another one. Wailing Shadow Belbertflow? Yeah. 3 mana, 1000 power. It is a slayer, so any monster that destroys this card also gets destroyed. Mudman, 4 mana, 2000 plus, gains 2000 power when it attacks. Oh no, actually no. It gains 2000 power when all of the cards in your mana zone are dark. So normally whenever you make a deck, it's always based around the colors of your cards. Sometimes you could make a single color card, or you could make a multicolor card, and if you do, it's usually only up to about 2 colors per deck. So got another Mudman. Bone Piercer, 2 mana, 1000 power. When this creature gets put into your graveyard from the battle zone, you may return a creature from your mana zone to your hand. You may, so that's optional. Stra, which is a Cyberlord. 4 mana, 2000 power. When this creature when you put this creature into the battle zone, return a card from your mana zone to your hand. Then your opponent chooses a card from their mana zone and returns it to their hand. Okay. Liquid Scope, shield trigger, 4 mana. Look at your opponent's hands and shield, then put the shields back where they were. So this is pretty much getting information on your opponent's deck pretty much and their plays. So I got another Liquid Scope here. Emerald, 2 mana, 1000 power. When you put this creature into the battle zone, you may add a card from your hand to your shield face down. If you do, choose one of your shields and put it into your hand. You can't use the shield trigger of the ability of that shield that you end up picking up. 3 mana, 3000 plus power. We have Angular Cluster, which is a blocker. It can't attack, and while all of your cards in your mana zone are water, it gains 3000 power. So this could be a very good blocker indeed. Angular Cluster as well. Pale Seeker of Sunlight. So I think we saw that among the... Yeah, it was among the promo cards that we looked at. Pale again. Sundrop Armor. Add a card from your hand to your shield's face down. So that's a 4 mana card. Another one. Lina Visor of Brilliance. 4 mana, 2000 power. When you put this creature into the battle zone, You may return a spell from your mana zone to your hand. Interesting, okay. Another Lena Visor of Brilliance. Alice the Oracle, 6 mana, 1000 power. When this creature were to be put in your graveyard from your battle zone, add it to your shields instead. Another Alice the Oracle. Fire, so we have Kip Chipoto, 3 mana, 1000 power. When one of your armored dragons were to be destroyed, you may destroy this card instead. Okay. 2 mana, 1000 power, we have Jewel Spider. When this creature is destroyed, you may choose one of your shields and put it into your hand. You can't use the shield trigger ability of that shield. So, that's an interesting one. 3 mana, 1000 power. It is a Silver Axe. Whenever this creature attacks, you may put the top card of your deck in your mana zone. So, this is a good way of getting cards into your mana zone. Rainbow Stone. We've got a couple of copies of that. Leaping Tornado Horn. While attacking, gains 1000 power. Interesting. Got another one. So both of these are, of course, 3 mana. Essence Elf, 2 mana, 1000 power. Each spell costs 1 less to cast, but they cannot cost less than 1. Essence Elf again. Mini Titan Get. Now, I remember Shobu, the main character of the anime adaptation of this card game, did use Mini Titan Get quite a bit. 2 mana, 2000 power, gains 1000 power when it attacks. And it has to attack every turn if it's able to. So of course, actually something I forgot to mention is that in DuelMasters, when you summon monsters, they have summoning sickness. So when you summon a monster, it cannot attack immediately, but every turn after that it can. So normally going second is actually usually pretty beneficial in this game. Galasaur, we've seen that before. Engineer Kippo, 2 mana, 2000 power. When this creature is destroyed, each player chooses a card in their mana zone and puts it in their graveyard. So we've got a couple of those. Marrow Ooze the Twister, 1 mana, 1000 power. It's a blocker. When this creature attacks a player, destroy it after the attack. So it's going to get destroyed no matter what. But we've got 2 of those. Lost Soul, 7 mana. Your opponent discards all cards from their hand. That's a pretty solid effect. Also, when shields are destroyed, those cards get added to your hand. I feel like I forgot to mention that. 3 mana, Horrid Worm. Whenever this creature attacks, your opponent discards a card at random. Horrid Worm again. Giga Stand, Critical Blade. We've already had a look at those cards. Thought Probe, Shield Trigger. When you cast a spell, if your opponent has 3 or more creatures in the battle zone, draw 3 cards, which is quite a bit. Scissor Eye is a vanilla monster, 4 mana at 3000 power, got a couple of those. Recon Operation, 2 mana. Look at the top, look up to 3 of your opponent's shields, then put them back where they were. Recon Operation, so you got another one. Another copy of Crystal Lancer, Coral, 5 mana at 2000 power. When this creature is put in the battle zone, choose one of your opponent's creatures in the battle zone and put it on the top of their deck. Got another one. Aqua Shooter, 4 mana, 2000 power, blocker. Okay. Aqua Shooter, another one. Rizzo Pascos, Clear Sky Guardian, 3 mana, 3000 power. It is a vanilla monster. Magris Visor of Magnetism, 4 mana, 3000 power. When you put this creature in the battle zone, you can draw a card. We've got a couple of those. Logic Cube, so we've got 3 mana. It's a shield trigger. Search your deck. You may take a spell from your deck, show that spell to your opponent and put it in your hand, then shuffle your deck. Got another Logic Cube here. Fonch the Oracle, so 4 mana, 2000 power. When this creature is put into the battle zone, you can choose one of your opponent's creatures in the battle zone and tap it. Got another one. And finally, we have Fatal Attacker Horvath at the bottom, which we have seen among my collection of cards. So we're just going to move on to this other group of cards I have. Might want to get through it a little bit quicker, because I think I've been going pretty long on this. Sword Butterfly, Sniper Mosquito, Roar of the Earth, Raging Dashhorn, Pouch Shell, that's new. 4 mana, 1000 power. When you put this creature into the battle zone, you may choose one of your opponent's evolution creatures in the battle zone and put the top card of that creature into your opponent's graveyard. So you can actually, so this is essentially like counterplay for evolution creatures. Because evolution creatures work like Xyz monsters, where you pay the mana cost, but then you stack the monster on top of the monster that already is on the field. Masked Pomegranate, 1000 power attacker, but it can't be blocked by any creature that has 4000 power or less. 5 mana at 1000. Mana Nexus, 4 mana, shield trigger, add a card from your mana zone to your shield's face down. Volcanic Arrows, we've seen that. Snipe Striker Bull Razor, seen that. Searing Wave, this is a new card. 5 mana, destroy all your opponent's creatures that have 3000 power or less. Choose one of your shields and put it in your graveyard as a result. Explosive Dude Joe, Baby Zop, 3 mana, 2000 plus power. When all cards in your mana zone are fire, this card gains 2000 power. Wailing Shadow Belfetlo? I don't know. Snake Attack, 4 mana. Each of your creatures in the battle zone get double breaker until the end of the turn, and you also choose one of your shields and send it to the graveyard. Mudman, so we've seen that. Hangworm, Feathered Larva, vanilla monster at 5 mana with 4000 power. Eldritch Poison, so this is a shield trigger with 1 mana. And with shield triggers, it's also an optional effect if you want to activate it. You don't have to, but you will need to pay the cost if the card gets added to your hand post, it being destroyed. You destroy one of your darkness creatures. If you do, return a creature from your mana zone to your hand. Bone Piercer, Baraga Blade of Gloom, so that's 4 mana, 4000 power. When you put this creature in the battle zone, choose one of your shields and put it into your hand. You can't use the shield trigger ability though. Stinger Ball, 3 mana, 1000 power. When this creature attacks, you may look at your opponent's shields and put them back where they were. Strata, Liquid Scope, King Ponitus, 8 mana, 4000 power. When this creature attacks, search your deck. You may take a water card from your deck, show that to your opponent, and put it in your hand. So it's a searcher pretty much. Flood Valve, 2 mana, shield trigger, return a card from your mana zone to your hand. Emerald, Angler Cluster, Urpale Seeker of Sunlight, Sundrop Armor, Sparkle Flower. Okay, that's a new one. 4 mana, 3000 power. While all cards in your mana zone are light, this creature has the blocker ability. Ravu, Seeker of Lightning, 6 mana, 4000 power. Whenever this creature attacks, you may return a light spell from your graveyard to your hand. Lena Visor of Brilliant, Boomerang Comet, shield trigger, return a card from your mana zone to your hand after you cast a spell. Put it in your mana zone instead of the graveyard at 6 mana cost. Alice the Oracle. Now here we have a Survivor. So this is a card from the Survivor of the Megapocalypse expansion, booster packs. We've got Smash Horn Q. I don't know what the Survivor ability is. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, this creature gets 1000 plus power. Scissor Scarab. I do need to look up the Survivor abilities though. 7 mana, 5000 power. When this creature is put into the battle zone, search your deck. You may add a giant insect from your deck, show the giant insect to your opponent, and put it in your hand, then shuffle your deck. Crow Winger. 2 mana, 1000 plus power, gains 1000 power for each water creature and darkness creature that your opponent has in the battle zone. Rikaboo the Dismantler. 3 mana, 1000 power. It has speed attacker, which means it doesn't have summoning sickness. Kip Chipodo, 3 mana, 1000 power. Jewel Spider, Gigazol, 3 mana, 3000 power. While your opponent has no shields, this creature cannot attack. 5 mana, 3000 power. Steel Turret Cluster, this creature can't be attacked by fire or nature creatures. Spike Strike, Ichthus Q? Yeah, well, it's a Q monster, so it's a survivor. 6 mana, 3000 power. This creature cannot be blocked. Solid Skin Fish, 3 mana, 3000 power. When this creature is put in the battle zone, return a card from your mana zone to your hand. Lurking Eel, 6 mana, 4000 power. It is a fire and nature blocker, so it actually specifically blocks fire and nature creatures. Liquist the Oracle, 2 mana, 1500 power. Whenever this creature attacks, you may choose a darkness or fire creature in the battle zone and tap it. Kulu's Soulshine Enforcer, 4 mana at 3500 power. Whenever this creature is put in the battle zone, if your opponent has more cards in their mana zone than you have in yours, put the top card of your deck into your mana zone. Calgo, Visor of Rain Clouds. This creature can't be blocked by creatures that have more than 4000 power. So that's 3 mana and 2000 power. Silverfist, 4 mana, 3000 power. Of course, power attacker of 2000, so it can gain 2000 attack. Silver Axe. Whenever this creature attacks, you can put the top card of your deck into your mana zone. Rainbow Stone, Mana Crisis, Leaping Tornado Horn, Essence Elf. Now, Barkwhip the Smasher, 2 mana, evolution. It's a beast folk at 5000 power. Also, while this creature is tapped, each of your beast folk in the battle zone also gain 2000 power. This is an excellent card. Rumblegate, Mini Titan Get, Galasaur, Engineered Kippo, Cavalry General Kuratops, Armored Cannonball Barrow. This is also another excellent card. 3 mana, 3000 power. It's an evolution creature and can only be put on one of your humans. When it attacks, it gains 2000 power. Marooz the Twister, Lost Soul, Horrid Worm, Grey Balloon, Shadow of Greed. 3 mana, 3000 power. It's a blocker and it can't attack your the player. Gigastand, Critical Blade, Chaos Worm. So this is an evolution, 5 mana at 5000 power. Put on one of your Parasite Worms. When this creature is put into the battle zone, you may destroy one of your opponent's creatures. Thought Probe, Stained Glass, 3 mana, 1000 power. Whenever this creature attacks, you may choose one of your opponent's fire or nature creatures in the battle zone and return it to their hand. Scissor Eye, Recon Operation, of course Crystal Lancer, Coral, Aqua Shooter. Now we're going back to light with Wind the Oracle, 2 mana, 1500 power. Whenever this creature attacks, you may look at your opponent's shields and then put them back. Rizzo Pascos, Magris, Logic Cube, Labra Gear the Cumulant, 3 mana, 5000 power. It is an evolution, putting on one of your guardians. When you put this creature in the battle zone, tap all of your opponent's creatures that have blockers, so you can pretty much disable your opponent's blockers by this card alone. Faunch the Oracle, Diamond Cutter, 5 mana. This turn, ignore any effects that would prevent your creature from attacking. Like, for instance, Summoning Sickness, or this creature can't attack, or this creature can't attack players. Interesting. So that's actually an excellent, very much an offensive tool. Fatal Attacker Horvath, Deadly Fighter Braidclaw, Artisan Picora, 1 mana, 2000 power. When you put this creature in the battle zone, put 1 card from your mana zone into the graveyard. Death Smoke, destroy one of your opponent's untapped creatures at 4 mana. Sonic Wing, 3 mana. Rizal the Oracle, Visor of Bullets, 3 mana, 3000 power, Vanilla Monster. And Aqua Guard, 1 mana, 2000 power, is a blocker and can't attack your players. Whew, that was a lot of cards to get through, jeez. But we are not done yet, because now I'm going to actually open some new packs. Not new packs, but like unopened packs. I wonder how long it's been since people have actually opened packs of like DuelMasters cards. So we have, ta-da, the DMO one. So let's actually open this thing up. Rip this thing up. Be a right pain to open up. Probably give me a second. Ooh. I'll be honest, I don't know who they're trying to keep out with all of this plastic. Do I have anything sharp I can use somewhere? Ooh. Oh no, never mind, I've got it anyways. Haha. Alright. Let's rip this thing open and have a look at see what's inside. So this is all based off of DMO1. Let's just get this plastic off. So here we have it, nice and shiny. Now how the heck do we open this thing? to open it from the top here. Okay. Take this whole thing out. So this is the quick start guide, the DMAX membership offer. This is the mats for playing on, so I will actually keep those to the side. What else we got? Oh, okay. So here we have the rulebook, a booster pack. Ooh, nice. And then we have, of course, Roses the Traveler, very nice looking. And two 20 card packs. So let's just kind of, I guess, jump right into it. Ah, well, I dropped that. Actually, come to think of it, what's this? A little bit of a mini comic book as well that we've got. Opening that up, there we go. It's very, very short. Very short indeed. Alright. Let's open up this one here that's got Burning Mane on the front. So very much a vanilla monster right there. Cool. Oh, I can feel the freshness of these cards right here. So we have Burning Mane, Trihorn Shepherd, Dome Shell, Power Attacker plus 2000, Forest Hornet, Golden Wing Striker, Bronze Arm Tribe. Ooh, okay, so it's a light and nature deck. Holy Orb, Moonlight Flash, Lock Visor of Hunting, so vanilla creatures, of course. Sonic Wing. One of your creatures cannot be blocked this turn. Male Visor of Lightning, Sentinel Jade Tree, Air Visor of Bullets, Emerald Grass, La Ura Giga Sky Guardian, 2 copies, so a fairly efficient looking blocker deck. Let's have a look at this one that's got Drag Glide in the front. Oh jeez, how did I open the other one? I feel like it was so much easier to open than what I realize. Get this plastic off. Hold on, I think I've almost got it. Jeez, what am I doing here? Maybe I don't have enough nails, that might be it. Ah, here we go, got it. Okay. Cool, got it off. That definitely took a second. So we have Drag Glide, Explosive Volcanodon, Aura Blast. Okay. So a Nature and Fire deck. So this deck is not going to have any blockers, I don't think. Each of your creatures in your battle zone gets Power Attacker plus 2000 until the end of the turn. Dome Shell, Fear Fang, Bronze Arm Tribe, Burning Mane, Tornado Flame, Meteosaur. When you put this creature in the battle zone, you may destroy one of your opponent's monsters that has 2000 or less power. Crimson Hammer, 2 mana. You destroy one of your opponent's creatures that has 2000 power or less. Burning Power, Fire Sweeper, Burning Hellion. 4 mana, 3000 plus power with Power Attacker plus 2000. 3 copies of those. And Immortal Baron Vorg. 2 mana, 2000 power vanilla monster right there. There we go. God, that's pretty cool. So I'll put these back together. Now let's open the OG booster pack. So DMO1, and this one's got Mighty Shouter in the front right there. So it's got 10 cards in it. Hope we get something nice and rare, because the rarities are actually like displayed on the actual front here. So I'm just gonna open this right up. Get in the no zone, huh? That's interesting way of putting it, but yeah. We have Red Eye Scorpion. Oh, Thorny Mandra. That's actually pretty rare. It's not the highest rarity, it's actually the second highest. When this creature is put in the battle zone, you may put what... When you put this creature into the battle zone, you may put one creature from your graveyard into your mana zone. 4,000 power at 5 mana. Super Explosive Volcanodon. Revolver Fish. 4 mana, 5,000 power. Blocker. 4 mana Brain Serum. It's a shield trigger. Draw 2 cards. Draw up to 2 cards. Solar Ray. Shield trigger. Burning Mane. Aqua Hercules. Writhing Bone Ghoul. 2 mana, 2,000 power. And Burning Power. That's actually not a bad pull with Thorny Mandra though. So yeah, that's actually pretty damn cool. And now we have DMO6. So this is the last thing that we have left to open. This has been a long recording sesh, but let's just kind of open this up now. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna move some of the stuff out of the way. Chuck this over here. I'll keep Thorny Mandra though. And actually, you know what? Rothus the Traveler as well. Cool. So, this thing does have a few holes in it, so it'll be a lot easier to open than the other one. But yeah, opening fresh packs of like a really old card game that will never get new packs ever again. It feels like almost a waste, so I'm making probably a lot of collectors cry right now. So here we have DMO6 with a Pyrofighter Magnus in the front right there. Let's open this thing up. Oh, it's coming off, I think. Man, why'd you have to put something like this tape in the between? As if the plastic on the outside wasn't enough. Taking a bit of effort to open this. Ah, here we go. Let's take that out. Stick that over here. Okay, now it's stuck to my finger. Cool. Alright, let's open this thing up. Okay, so it's got like a bit of a case here. Stombatrons of Invincible Wrath down here, so it's a card case. We have the setup and the rule book here. We have the DMAX membership and also the advanced rules. We have, of course, our 2 decks here. Copy of Pyrofighter Magnus, which is going to chuck here. So Pyrofighter Magnus is a 3 mana, 3,000 power monster. It has Power Attacker, and at the end of the turn, you can return this. You return this creature to your hand. So, interesting card there. Let me have a quick look. I thought we were supposed to have another pack in here somewhere. Let me just open up the advanced rules. Maybe it's inside. Because it feels like there's something more in here. Ah, there we go. There's the booster pack. Alright, let's move all that stuff out of the way. So we're going to leave the booster pack for last. Let's have a look at these cards first. God, it's real fun to try and open some of these. The struggle is real half the time, you know? You try to open these and it's just like covered in plastic. I don't know who they're trying to keep out, but I feel like I've made that exact same comment before. Alright, so we have Trihorn Shepherd. Featherhorn the Tracker, so a vanilla monster, 4 mana at 4000 power. Featherhorn the Tracker, Paradise Horn, sorry. 4 mana, 3000 power, gets 2000 power attack. Illusory Berry, 3 mana, 3000 power, vanilla. Sword Butterfly, 3 copies of Burning Mane. King Coral, 3 mana, 1000 power blocker. King Coral again. Virtual Tripwire. So this is a 3 mana. Choose one of your opponent's creatures in the battle zone and tap it. 2 copies of Spiral Gate. Aqua Shooter, 2 copies, and 2 copies of Steam Star, which is a 2 mana 1000 power vanilla monster. Let's look through this Enchanted Soil deck now. I think I've got a fairly large collection of cards now. Jeez. Really hard to open these things up. Give me a sec while I try and figure this out. Oh, I think I might have it now. Okay. Oh. There we go. Plastic is off. Cool. So we have here 4 mana Enchanted Soil. Put 2 creatures from your graveyard into the mana zone. Fearfang, 2 copies. Carrier Shell, 3 mana, 2000 plus, so it's a 3000 power attacker. 2 copies of those. Slumber Shell, 2 mana, 2000 power, that's a vanilla monster right there. 2 of those. Tornado Flame, 5 mana shield trigger. Destroy one of your opponent's monsters that has 4000 or less power. Spastic Missile, 3 mana, destroy one of your creatures that has 3000 or less power. Mitosaur, when you put this creature in the battle zone, you may destroy one of your opponent's creatures that has 2000 or less power. 5 mana at 2000 power. Explosive Volcanodon, we've seen that already. Automated Weapon Master Machai? Yeah. 4 mana, 4000 power. Attacks when it's able. Fire Sweeper Burning Hellion, we've seen that. Explosive Dujo, couple of copies of that. Pikora's Wrench, 3 copies of that. It's a 2 mana, 2000 power vanilla monster right there. So yeah, check that out. And finally, an unopened booster pack for a discontinued card game. Let's go, let's check it out. Jesus, I swear. Actually, wow, I am bad at opening packs. Really bad at it. Should do it more often though. Fuel the duel indeed. So here we have Looper Poison Tipped Doll. So this is a card where you actually need to tap it in order to use its ability. 2 mana, 1000 power, and its tapped ability is that it becomes a Slayer at the end of the turn. Rain of Arrows. 2 mana, look at your opponent's hand and discards all darkness spells from it. Proclamation of Death, 4 mana shield trigger. Your opponent chooses one of the creatures in the battle zone and destroys it. Crisis Boulder, 4 mana shield trigger. Your opponent chooses one of his creatures in the battle zone or card in the mana zone and puts it in the graveyard. Madrillian Fish, 2 mana, 3000 power blocker. Creature can't attack. Slumber Shell, 2 mana, 2000 power vanilla. 1 mana, 2000 power blocker, can't attack players. Phantom Dragon's Flame, 3 mana, shield trigger. Destroy one of your opponent's creatures that has 2000 power or less. Zorvar's the Bone Crusher. It's a blocker, it can't attack. 5000 power and 5 mana, 8000 power. When this creature battles, destroy it after the battle. And Steam Star, which is a 2 mana, 1000 power vanilla. Okay, so that wasn't too great. So I feel like I'm lucky with what I got. All of these are fairly common cards, yeah. But yeah. So I've been going pretty long on the recording of this video, so hopefully I think I might cut it down a little bit. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about Duel Masters and if you want to see more Duel Masters content. And with all that said and done, I'll see you guys next time.